The Expert Series is brought to you by Draw It Paint, the dry erase paint company that specializes in the highest quality of whiteboard walls available worldwide. Draw It Paint is constantly undergoing tests and procedures to ensure industry-leading, top-quality products with 3 selections to choose from. Recruit, Unique, and Limitless are guaranteed to suit all your dry erase paint needs.
Hey guys, my name is Dr. Patrick Anghel, and I'm a dentist in Las Vegas.
All right, yeah, that works. So you've had a YouTube channel for around 2 years now. What inspired you to post all the content and stuff that you've been doing?
So I didn't originally start with YouTube. I started with Facebook/Instagram kind of right around the same time. And I didn't make a YouTube channel for probably about a year or so after I had started those. But originally, my whole game plan was, when I started school, what can I best do to prepare myself for my future career? And that being was do as best as I can in school, network, but what can I do outside? Instagram kind of just popped into my head, social media, best position myself for what it is that I'm going to be doing when I graduate. So naturally that kind of transitioned into YouTube, and I wanted to grow my brand. I wanted to grow the ability to attract patients once I start working. And so at the same time, it wasn't just that, it was also me wanting to basically lend a helping hand to people who are going to go down the same path as me, who are a couple years behind, who will be starting dental school and going through that process, but also at the same time to promote the importance of oral health and how it relates to whole body health as well to the general public. So that's how I stumbled into it.
Yeah, okay. Did you find YouTube was the hardest one to kind of kickstart? Because I find even with us, when we're promoting our media, YouTube seems to be the trickiest one. Do you have the same thoughts on that? Or?
Yes and no. I think I utilize my Instagram a lot to push my YouTube channel. And there are obviously some videos that are way more popular than others. The ones that are really, really popular are stuff for pre-dental students, to give them advice on their applications or just the whole interview process as a whole. So what I would do is I would just go to the Facebook pages of pre-dental groups, post this video and just watch it if you like it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And it was a lot of really good advice. So it kind of just caught on fire and essentially just went across the country. And I'm pretty sure almost every single dental student, current dental student right now and pre-dental student has watched it or knows somebody who has watched it. So but I've noticed a lot of the other videos, it's a lot harder to gain traction. So you just have to provide stuff to people that benefits them, that they want to see. And I think that's the hardest part, is figuring out what people want.
Yeah. I feel like it probably gets easier as you kind of gain publicity for YouTube too. Your videos do gain a lot more traction over time. It's just that first, when you get in that first few followings, it's kind of just a tricky software to use almost.
I agree 100%.
All right. So besides that, what are some activities that you like to do outside of work?
Honestly, a lot of reading is probably the biggest thing. Hiking, I don't do as much as that as I used to in the past, just because of work schedule and all that type of stuff, but just anything outdoors. Basketball is obviously my favorite sport. I try to snowboard at least once a year, every winter. But I'd say those are the biggest things, and just hanging out with friends and Yeah, I'm trying to get into snowboarding again, actually. I kind of
Haven't done it for a couple of years, but it's one of those things that's really fun. And, you know, like it's like you're living life when you're doing it. You're going down like either the mountains or a canyon or whatever. Like there's nothing better than that. But yeah, you mentioned, what was it you meant? What was you mentioned off the bat? It was for activity. Reading. Oh, reading. Yeah. I had a question on that. How do you like? Where do you usually just go to like a bookstore, or do you read online and stuff like that?
I prefer to like just buy a book. I just buy it off Amazon, but kind of how I get into it is books that Warren Buffett or Bill Gates recommends, and then pick up one of those, and then kind of just it takes you down a rabbit hole, and you end up finding different books that way because other authors, they recommend certain things. But I'm really big on like finance type of stuff, and I think Robert Kiyosaki is amazing, and he is an expert at his field. But the advice that he gives you, what I love about it is, if he doesn't know 100% about a subject, or he wouldn't be proud to call himself an expert on the subject, he'll direct you to somebody who is. And so that to me is amazing, because that's how you end up picking up other books as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's willing to own up to everything too.
Yeah.
Do you find there's a lot of people that are like, do you feel like books are almost like, you know, dying out in a way? Or do you think that there's like a strong, because I feel like I know because I'm 20, so younger. But most people I know don't read. It's like you'd read maybe articles online about, that's like the most you do. It just seems like movies and games and stuff are just really, you know, like they're enhancing your experience, therefore they're basically bringing you in.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I don't believe it's necessarily dying. I believe at a certain age in your life, because I noticed the same thing. Like when I was in undergrad and in high school, of course, nobody reads in high school. But in undergrad, same thing. A lot of people don't really spend time reading. But I've noticed that once you're done with school, once you're done with formal education, at least the people that I've associated with, they claim that they read. I mean, reading is cool now. Like being smart is cool now. I don't know when that change has happened, but I don't know if they just do it for the gram and say they actually read, but at least it seems that a lot more people read my age than those same people who I know didn't read when they were in their 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I could see myself getting older and reading a lot more. I know I used to read a lot in high school, actually. Like I used to pick up a book, or I'd have a book series and I just read. But like now it's just like I don't really read too often. Maybe it's just, I think it's like a phase maybe. Like at this age, you're like, I'd rather go play a video game, or I'd rather just, you know, I'd rather go watch a movie or something. It's
totally. I mean, it's whatever, you know, it's just a part of life. But I think it starts to change when you get to a point in your life when you realize that the most important person on this planet is you, because at the end of the day, you're going to be buried underground. You're going to be in that coffin by yourself. So what can you best do to advance yourself as a human being? And when formal education is done, you literally never have to learn something new for the rest of your life. But then you're never going to improve as a human being. And so I think it's when you understand what the priorities in life is, which is allowing yourself to live and grow and provide a future for yourself, for your family, for whoever it is that you associate with. And I think certain people realize that, other people realize it. I think everybody realizes it at some point in life, but you might realize it when you're 65 on your deathbed. It's too late at that point. You know, it's pretty much too late.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess leading into the next question too, more to do with the clinic and all that. Can you tell us like about like what's the atmosphere like in the clinic?
this, honestly, I am so pumped to be working, excuse me, in this office. Like, it is what you look for in a everybody has their idea of like what a mentor should be, right? And my idea of what a mentor was is essentially the guy that I'm working for. The atmosphere that he created in that office is unreal. Like, everyone's a go-getter. Everyone is a cool, laid-back human being and understands how to separate work hard and play hard. But at the same time, they foster everyone, whether it be the dental assistants, foster each other to be the best that they can be. And same thing with the doctors in the front office and everything. And so I think it's unbelievable. I'm learning stuff in that you will not be learning in a GPR or residency program at the rate that I'm learning it at. And I honestly, I think I'm one of the luckiest people who has graduated from my class anywhere in the country. I'm willing to bet there are very, very few positions that are similar to the one that I'm in. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to, it's not being lucky. It's doing your due diligence to prepare for your future career, if that makes sense. So, but I love it here, and I think I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I honestly really wouldn't.
Well, yeah, that's good. It's the best thing for yourself, as you're kind of saying in the last, like, you got to do whatever you can for you. So was dental and stuff like that, was that always like your dream job, or did you have like various dream jobs as you're growing up?
So I always tell people this, that if money didn't matter in this world, I would be a National Geographic wildlife explorer, photographing like big cats in Africa. I think that would be the coolest thing. At some point in my life, when I'm a lot older and I have a lot more money, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. But I always knew from, I'd say maybe end of high school, that if I go down the route of healthcare, it's going to be dentistry, because I believe it's the perfect fusion of business and healthcare. But at the same time, I didn't only study biology when I was an undergrad. I was an econ major as well. And so I really started to fall in love with that. And investment banking was something on my radar for a decent amount of time. And I had this fork in the road, and I ended up choosing dentistry and just never looked back since. I mean, obviously, when you're in dental school, especially in the beginning, when you don't do anything on patients, when you don't do anything dental related, and it's just study, and a lot of just complete BS that has nothing to do with dentistry, that you should never be wasting your time learning. That's my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to agree with me on that. Some people, obviously, the 4.0 gunners are going to say, no, like, this is important. But like a lot of times then when you're studying for those finals, you regret it. You're like, why am I doing this? Like, I would have been working for 2-3 years at this point. I'd be making a lot more money, and I'm not going to be coming out with as much debt. But then once you start to see patients, then you kind of start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you're like, wow, okay, like I remember why I got into this. But I think dental school, I don't know so much about medical school, but I know dental school needs to do a better job at helping students see the light at the end of the tunnel early on, because there's a lot of depression in dental school, a lot. And who knows, it could be contributed to some of the habits that a lot of these kids had when they were in high school and early on in undergrad. But at the end of the day, those numbers are a lot higher, I'd say, than most other schools. So.
Yeah, geez. That even like, that brings up a thought. Like, I feel like school and like, yeah, like as you say, like your dental might be one of the worst, I don't know, classes for that kind of stuff, like teaching the BS and all that, or stuff that really doesn't matter in like 20 years time. I feel like a lot of school does that though. Like, I feel like a lot of classes, they'll teach things that, you know, like they really don't matter at the time, especially high school. Let's like high school, for example, like how we're teaching Shakespeare and stuff like that. I mean, Shakespeare's got some good concepts and good context to it. And it's, like we can learn a lot of stuff from it.
Yeah.
At the same time, why don't we have like a financial core class? Because like when I got out of high school, I was like, what the, like what am I doing with like my savings account and all this? Like, how does interest work and all that? Like I have to learn all this from my parents or just from experience. And that's like one of those things. That's a really big example of like how schools aren't teaching the right things almost.
You're totally right. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's like that, but I feel like the system is set up that way because if everyone knows, I mean, this isn't just the United States. This is the entire world. It's been since the dawn of civilization that there are people who are better than others. I mean, whether you want to say it or not, they are, because they somehow put themselves in that position or whatever, a position of power. And it's a game of control. And so how are you going to best control the populations? You do it through religion, you do it through government, different ways like that. And obviously suppressing or not providing the knowledge that the elites have or the uber successful people in this world have, not giving them that knowledge is going to naturally just keep them down. And at the end of the day, is that good? Is that bad? I mean, you can't have everyone be the smartest person in the world or know everything in the world, because then who's going to do all these other jobs? It's a game of survival of the fittest. This is what biology has always been. And it's what it will always be. And what we as humans now are trying to do is trying to get rid of that and have everyone be equal. But then you just create a problem where you create a communist country. Somebody's got to be in charge at the end of the day. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think an egalitarian society like that is the best way to go about things. We saw what happened with Russia. We see what's happening now with China. And I think they're in for some trouble.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Another thing, like even with people, like everyone has their own talents and their own, like they're all smart in their own field in a way. Yeah. If people are really putting work into it, of course, there's people that don't try in life and they don't get anywhere. But that's just the lack of like motivation and stuff. But for those, like everyone has their own, professions. They have their own talents in certain things. Like some people are musicians, some people are dentists, some people are, police officers, whatever it may be. Like everyone's suit out. Like everyone has their own role to play almost. Like look at the best example are like window washers from like skyscrapers. Like I could never do that.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to like, I don't know, like that's just scary. I hate heights. So like definitely not my thing, but there's a lot of people that would be like, that's not bad. I totally do that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
But yeah, like the variation really plays a part. And do you think school really shapes that? Or do you think it's more like to do outside of school with like life experiences? I feel like, I guess it kind of has both, but what are your thoughts on it?
I think a lot of times we're forced into a certain pathway because I think the higher paying jobs, you're able to choose to go down that pathway. If you make the right decisions in your life in high school, you get good grades, hang out with the right people, you do well in undergrad or whatever, a higher paying job, believe you have the choice to go down that pathway. But these other jobs, I think a lot of people get forced into them because they have to pick something. And when it comes time to pick something, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And then naturally they get good at it because not everyone's grown up and is like, well, what is the thing that you're kind of steered in the direction of when you're a child? It's be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer. In the eyes of our parents, there's only 3-4 professions in this entire world. So I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of other people, they realize that they just can't do it because they messed up early in life or whatever. And so excuse me, end up going down a different pathway. But to say that is also saying that you don't necessarily have to be forced to go down that pathway. There are people who do career changes at the age of 25, at the age of 35. And it all comes down to you and the effort that you put into being the best version of yourself and pursuing whatever it is that you want to pursue. So I don't know. I mean, that's a topic for debate.
Yeah. Do you think, I know a lot of, I feel like as kids and stuff grow up, their parents have, I feel like not everyone, but like a lot of people, like their parents have expectations for where they want to go in life. Like maybe say your dad or your mom has a business.
Yeah.
When you grow up, you're supposed to take over. There's a lot of people that are like, I want to do what I want to do.
I don't know. See, I kind of agree with that, but I think you're stupid if you don't take over your parents' business if it's very successful. I think that is one of the most boneheaded things you can do. Unless your parents are just financing. So the thing, okay, I'm a successful business. I'll say like a business that's pulling in between $1 to $2 to $3 million a year, right? Like that's not corporation status where like your family can travel all the time. That because you got to pay all your employees or everything like that. But that's a really good living. You know, you can pull in between $100 to $250,000 a year, right? I think it's very dumb to not at least take that over or at least have some sort of experience in that business because you're going to learn skills that can help you in whatever it is that you want to do in your future. Because kids who have parents that own businesses that are like making $50, $60 million a year, their parents can pretty much fund them to do anything, ride horses every single day of their life if they want, you know? And at that point, it doesn't really matter what you do in life because you have mom and dad's money as a safety net. But why make things harder for yourself than it needs to be? You know, like I always tell people, I'm like, use everything that you have to your advantage to best push yourself forward into the next level of your life. And one of those things is where we're raised, who raised us. Why would you make things more difficult? Use the opportunity to learn from that experience. And if you don't want to, then go ahead. Don't do it at that point. But I think you're going to be, I don't know. It frustrates me when I see that.
Yeah, I mean,
because I didn't have that opportunity. And it would have been nice. Like, I love doing what I'm doing, but it's a lot harder for me to do. Like, why do you want to make life hard for yourself? That's the thing.
Yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from. I feel like the main reason why, because like honestly, yeah, if you have like your parents have a really successful business and stuff, and like, yeah, it's like a wasted opportunity for you not to take over. But at the same time, you mean like career is such a huge thing in one's mind. Like, if you don't, like, I feel like some people don't do it. Like, this is how I see it. Like, I feel like some people don't take those opportunities mostly because they don't want to wake up every day and dread going to work because they hate the job. That's the thing. So I don't know, like it kind of raises, like, it's another question I have is like, how do you measure success? Because a lot of people measure success by how much money you're bringing in and how much you're like, you know, how much of that money that you're saving and living comfortably, like outside of work. And then other people will measure success in like your job, like your dream job. Do you have to wake up every day and dread doing it, even though you're making a lot of money? Or are you waking up every day and you're like, you know, I don't have to work a day in my life. Like, this is what I want to do. And you live like just, you know, like you're making just, like, you could just be making some, like, I don't know, like, let's say like $80,000 a year, or whatever, like enough money to live comfortable. But you don't have to work a day in your life. So like, where do you measure your success? Because like, there's always a constant debate between the two.
So I think it's a fusion of both, and also the amount of positive impact you leave on other people's lives. But with that being said too, I think a lot of people lose sight of what is actually happening in our society or in the world. First of all, what is the retirement age? 66, 67, right? the first people that are going to live to be 150 years old, they've already been born. So people are not going to die at the age of 70, 75, where you have to live 10 years on retirement. They're going to live another 30 to 40 years not working if the retirement age is 66, 67 years old. Social Security is gone by 2035. It was never intended to be something that is going to last forever. That is like an explicitly known fact, but a lot of people believe it's meant to like support your life. It's not. Like, there's no way you can live that long on Social Security, pay for all your expenses, all the health care that you're going to have at that point in life. So I think people also need to understand that you can live a great life that makes no money, but don't expect people to support you later on at the end of your life because of the choices you made. I think there needs to be a balance in everything. If you love something and you can't make a lot of money doing it, do it as a hobby. If you can't support yourself when you're 90 years old, because that's going to be the fact of the matter, unless we're going to rely on our children all the time to just ensure that we have amazing lives until the age of 120 years old or whatever. That's not right. And I think a lot of people are not looking that far into the future. And that's going to be a problem. I mean, you see every year people are living longer and longer. The oldest person is always older than the person that just recently died. And it's going to be a trend that's going to continue on. You're not going to be 150 years old and have the body of somebody who's 150. You're going to be 100 and have the body of somebody who's 70. Like, we now understand how to slow down the cellular aging process, and it's only going to get better. And naturally, people are going to live longer. So was government going to support every single human being in this country to live to be over the age of 100? No way. No way. It's just not feasible. Unless you put some sort of population control tool in place where every 5 years you can have a kid and you can't have more than one kid or something, unless you make so much money that you can support all the offspring that you have. No way. Nobody's going to be okay with that. So government is not meant to support people. It's meant to set rules and regulations so all the other entities don't take advantage. And I think it's a little vice versa now. So.
Yeah, I can totally see what you're saying. Like, I think there needs to be a balance between the two. It's like a balance of time, how much time I'm spending enjoying myself, enjoying my life, and like fulfilling my life, and then how much money, like, I'm making on the side, whether I can support myself in 30, 40 years time, even if I'm older on a pension. Like, you got to look out on, you got to look at every aspect of it. And, I think that's how you really come to terms with all of it. So
I agree. So I got 7 minutes left before I got to head out to work.
Oh, you got 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I talk too much.
All right. Let's start with this. Any advice you give to any other guys trying to get in the dentist industry or whoever?
I would say in school, keep all doors open. Get as high grades as you can, just in case you want to specialize or something like that. But networking is key. Go to every single networking event. Like, talk to upperclassmen, talk to faculty. Join the fraternities. Anything that can put you in a position to meet as many people as possible is what you need to be doing, because you never know where you're going to be at come fourth year when it's time to start figuring out what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, where you're going to end up after graduation. So I think networking is key. Okay.
All right. Another key question we could finish out with is how do you self-promote yourself and your business?
So I work for somebody. I don't have my own business, but essentially through social media and word of mouth. But social media is definitely a good one because everybody's on it. Let's be real. And just networking, talking to people. I've met people who I still think face-to-face or like person-to-person referrals is still the best, because that's where I've gotten, I'd say, the most patients. I have interest from people on Instagram, but face-to-face that I've met in the Vegas area, they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so recommended you, so here I am, or let's set up an appointment or something like that. So I think that's the best. So
yeah, you find there's probably pros and cons with social media. Like sometimes it's like, or like, how do you feel of social media in general? Is it just like, like, is it a bad thing, a good thing? Because I think there's good things and bad things about it. I'm like, what do you think?
I think it's both. It's an excellent way to waste time. It's an excellent tool for promoting yourself, your brand, your business, spreading knowledge, whatever, because people spend a lot of time on it. But I also think it's really fake, especially all these influencers. I like to try to keep it real, but like I look at all these medical influencers because that's just the arena that I'm a part of, so I can't really speak too much on the others, but at least in the medical community, it's like you join these engagement groups where everybody's commenting on each other's like posts once they make a post to like beat Instagram's algorithms and get your post thrown up to the front. And you just see all the stuff, all this fake love that they have for each other, this fake friendship that they have for each other, and all this BS when you read their comments. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. Like, I'll say whatever the heck I want to say, but it's like, oh, you're doing so good. I really love this. Like, whatever you're doing. Like, I'm like, dude, you're spending too much time on it. Like, I know the pathway that you're going down and the career that you have. And I just think, how are you utilizing social media to best benefit yourself in the future? A lot of people just want free scrubs, free stuff. That's not my end goal, and I'm just going to say how I see it, how a lot of other people see it. But I don't know. I mean, you're laughing when I'm saying this, so you probably see, like, to a certain extent exactly what I'm saying, and everyone else is doing the same thing. And it's like, I'm not going to say that I'm not doing it, because at the end of the day, like, you're trying to beat Instagram's like algorithms, but like at least I try to like keep it real to a certain extent. And if I feel something, if I think you look like a clown or whatever, I'm going to say that in the post. I mean, in the comment. Like, I don't really care. And if you get offended by that, then like, bro, life's going to be really, really tough, because, we're just like joking around, and there are more things that are important than that.
Yeah, social media can be abused. You can also, a lot of people take a lot of this stuff seriously on it, which is ridiculous.
You really do.
But yeah, I guess, yeah, since you're showing that, we can close with that.